You're still watching Nigeria Decides. The People's Democratic Party, the PDP, during their caucus meeting today, have decided to contest the election. Does this come as a surprise, even after the peace talks and meeting with Atiku Abubakar? To discuss this with us
we have Barrister Obi Ajebo again with us in the studio.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, so of course, the PDP National Working Committee called an emergency caucus meeting. I'd like to list some of the reasons why they decided to call this meeting. Of course, they decided to talk about, you know, the redress that they seek in court as per the outcome of the presidential election. The party chairman, Uche Secondus, had confirmed that the meeting was going to happen today, as at the time this report was filed, they were still trickling in to the venue for the meeting. Now, they say they want to deliberate on the governorship elections that is forthcoming and houses of assembly. They say they will also expect Atiku Abubakar to brief them on the next step. And they said they want to also know what the next step will be as to the court cases, because of the pressure.
They've actually said that they're going to commence litigation either late today or tomorrow. So basically, what do you
there's
make
no
of
going
all
back
of this?
for them. What do you think?
That's the right thing to do. If you believe that you see, it is one thing, like Jonathan, when Jonathan saw that the results were against him, and he knew the results were fair, he stepped down. But this is a man who feels that he has done his work, he has done his permutations, and you now see, contrary from what you're seeing, he's in the polling, he has polling agents, they're calling in, oh, we've won in this ward, we've won in this ward, and they are collating theirs. And then all of a sudden the thing changes, and you expect him to feel all right. No, he has to go to court.
Well, but one of the challenges with things like this, especially going to the tribunal, is the burden of proof. He issued a statement earlier on, shed some links to videos of, you know, things that have happened. Do you think that he has enough to win a case in the tribunal, considering also that he sort of thinks that the APC, as a ruling party, is manipulating the system? So what chances are there that the litigation will not be manipulated?
He knows he's going in there against the odds. He's not a small child. He should know that the odds are against him. But everything, like, you know, they say the law is an ass. Whichever way, if you can prove it, I wrote something once on my Facebook post when people were saying, I said there's some evidence that is so glaring that even the most biased person would have no alternative but to accept those evidences. Like, for instance, that woman that came on and was saying she was threatened. Now, if she goes before a tribunal as a resident electoral commissioner or somebody who is assigned to that, and she swears on oath that she was threatened, that will carry a lot of weight.
But then again, because you're a legal person, you probably might be able to shed more light on this. The burden of proof, as I hear, is on the person who's bringing a case, in other words, Atiku Abubakar, to prove. Why should the burden of proof not be on the Independent Electoral Commission that has information? Why does it have to be on Atiku or whoever is bringing this case to try to prove that, you know, there were disparities? Why does it have to be on him?
First of all, INEC will be a party to the suit because INEC has a role to play. INEC has to bring those card readers because INEC has a rule that if the card reader is not working, there won't be elections. And that's one of the evidences they have that some...
But why is the electoral tribunal rules different from the civil? No, if you take a civil lawsuit where the burden of proof does not necessarily lie with you, who is bringing the case. Why does that rule, you know?
If it's a civil suit, if you're taking a civil suit, you have to prove that let's say you said you wounded yourself in a building and you're asking them for damages, you have to prove that you were wounded in the building, and you have to prove it's the act of the people in the building that made you sustain that wound, and that's why they should pay you damages.
But in the election tribunal also, I'm just saying, because INEC has everything, and maybe you have to subpoena INEC to give those things.
The chairman says I read somewhere that he said he would give them everything they want. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I read. But INEC is duty bound to provide the evidence they want.
There's a school of thought that's saying Atiku Abubakar should have known the outcome of this election, and maybe he knew that this was going to be the outcome. His whole point of contesting was to go to litigate, to go to court and say this was what happened, to prove a point. Do you agree with that school of thought?
Well, Atiku is a tactician, and he's one of the founding fathers of PDP. So he also knows the tricks of the trade. He was also in APC. So you see, he is in a better position to know the tricks of the trade. And you know, an old fox never changes its colors.
Yeah, but even as much as he knows, others also know the same tricks. So all of them are playing the game.
They're all, to me, they're playing a game. I have my own scenario about it. I told somebody, the person said, Obi, you're on drugs. I said, no, but that's what I'm thinking. I feel Atiku would... Yes, he knew that winning APC, especially a president that said, when they asked him, are you going to congratulate the person? He said, I will congratulate me, which means he has confidence. He feels he has, as a military man, he has secured his place.
Former military man.
As a former military man, he has secured his place. So he knows that he's covered his bases. And for that statement, Atiku would have heard that statement and would have gone back to his drawing board. It's all a game of chess. It's all a game of, okay, if I do this, you do this. They knew that he was coming, that it would end up in court. That's why the Onogate scenario was done regardless of the consequences.
Okay, well, what are the implications for our democracy? Because as it stands now, one person is saying, I'm going to court. The swearing in is supposed to be May 29th, so all litigations are expected to have been concluded before that time. I don't know the scenario that will play out, but there's also a group of persons that are saying Atiku should, for the sake of peace, just the way Jonathan did and said, no Nigerian blood, no, his ambition is not what the blood of any Nigerian. They are suggesting that he should just count his losses and wait for 2023 to contest again. And then there are others that are also saying that this is not good for a democracy. If you feel aggrieved, you should come out and you should, make your case heard. What is the implication, Jan?
Where would anybody's life be lost because somebody went to court? You see, that's the problem we have in Nigeria. If somebody hits your car, the person knew they were going to hit your car, they deliberately hit your car, and then the people will start begging you forgive. Sometimes you have to make a statement. And I'm happy that he wants to make that statement. Let us test our democracy in the courts. And let us see if the courts are well suited for our democracy.
Before we continue with the court issue, there have been many calls by the Peace Committee. There have been women who have protested and said, or not necessarily protest, but they were appealing. They hit the streets. I hear about 2 million of them. I've never seen 2 million women in Nigeria, but I hear that about 2 million women were on the streets of, I think, River State, asking Atiku to just not go to court, accept the results, so for peace to reign. What do you think is giving rise to this whole call for a man not to go to court? Because one would ask, these people have been going to court. Atiku has gone to court before. So has the sitting president gone to court. So what makes this particular scenario so different that we think that lives will be lost?
Why, first of all, I don't see any life being lost, except if he wins judgment and the president refuses to leave. vacate the seat. That's when there'll be a bit of tension. But anybody that is going at 200 million women parade, who is financing them? Because before you go on...
Are you saying that we can't have women who have, you know, some form of...
in rivers?
Well, maybe they're tired of blood being spilled. Because in Abonema, I must say, blood has been spilled. I mean, in River State, we saw the pictures and the videos of people being, you know, killed. And
that's why I'm surprised.
So maybe they're saying, look, our children were killed. We do not want a repeat of this, so let's just let it go.
Well, that's why I'm surprised, because Rivers, that's coming from Rivers, I'm very surprised. Because Rivers, they're aching, they're hurting. They would want Atiku to go to court to justify the lives they've lost, for it to be a compensation to them, in the belief that if he goes to court, he would remember their region.
Interesting.
Okay, this whole scenario, you mentioned earlier that Atiku was once in the APC, now he's in the PDP. All of these men involved in this game know that sometimes this is how you lose some, you win some. Isn't there something that the peace committee that went to see could have achieved or offered to ensure that, you know, there is some measure of understanding before the proceed to court? Because from that peace meeting, we understand that Atiku actually listed some of the issues he wanted addressed. Isn't it possible that some of these issues could have been handled and then there would be a middle ground for everyone?
Left to me, I feel Atiku should go to court. And let's test the Supreme Court. Let's test our judicial system. Let us see how far they can go. And let us see the evidence he has. He must have a lot of evidence for everybody to be telling him, don't go, don't go, don't go. And if I were him and everybody is telling me, don't go, I would not listen to them. I would go and test it.
But you keep saying, let's test that judiciary, like something has changed about Nigeria's judiciary. Is it not the same judiciary that Atiku has been going to every time he contests the results? Is it not the same one that other politicians have been using? What is different about this judiciary that you're saying should be tested? Do you think that do you know something we don't know?
No.
Okay.
What I'm saying was that when this result started coming, I posted on Facebook that it looks, now I understand why the Onega thing came up. It looks we are heading to court. And another friend of mine said, could this be a repeat of the 12th to 3rd ruling?
Okay, all right.
12th to 3rd ruling. And I just laughed. Now, why I'm saying let us test the Supreme Court, I have always maintained that there are some constitutional glitches that has to be sorted out in the Supreme Court. Now, I would like to know how the SANs that he's employing would take it. Would they go before the tribunal and accept the legality of the tribunal, or would they query the tribunal and in effect query the appointment of the acting CJ?
What do you expect to play out from your legal perspective? What do you expect to play out in all of this?
I would, because I'm feeling that the person there is not favorable to me, I would attack his appointment to see that if he could be removed from that position and another neutral person.
Should the word be favorable or neutral?
Neutral. Sorry, neutral. Because I'm doubting his neutrality.
But I mean, if we're looking at neutrality, it's the same President Buhari that swore in Walter Onnoghen. Did that in any way affect his neutrality? No. There must have been some reason for them to boycott the process of removing Onnoghen. If they had gone through the right process, I would not say anything, because it's his right to remove its CJ so far as it goes to the constitutional provisions. All right. Well, we want to continue talking about the PDP, but in River State, as at this morning, if not yesterday, there's been a hashtag, Wike must go. apparently with all of the things that happened and with the army accusing allegedly him of trying to bribe them, there's been a hashtag, and then there are some people gathered at Isaac Borough Park saying they were going to protest against Wike. Again, Wike is running without an opposition because there's trouble in the camp of the APC. But we have a PDP spokesperson for Rivers State, Darlington Orji, on the phone lines. We're hoping to patch him through so he can tell us exactly what is happening in Rivers State and all of the allegations that have been leveled against the governor.
Is he on the line? Are you there, Darlington?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Mr. Darlington. Can you hear us?
Good evening. Very well, I can hear you.
All right, Darlington, it's good to have you join us. Now, you are the spokesperson for the PDP in Rivers State, and we would like to know, there has been an allegation, of course, on the day that the election results were being released or being announced by INEC, side by side, we had the army having a live press briefing talking about Governor Wike trying to bribe them. What is the PDP stance on that allegation? We want to start with that.
Well, the allegation made by the military is fictitious, is laughable, and it is condemnable. For us as a political party, we have also issued statements in line with that. Recall that before the election, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, before the election, PDP and the government of Rivers State raised an alarm that the GOC of the 6th Division has concluded plans with the APC in order to intimidate and humiliate and disturb election on the 23rd of February. And of course, it was not taken seriously until it played out. For us as a people, PDP in Rivers State will have no reason to bribe any person. This is a political party. Rivers State is a PDP state, ground-rooted from 1998 to date. The government of Rivers State has never, changed from PDP to any other political party. And we are on ground. And for us as a people, the government of Rivers State, led by His Excellency Chief Barrister Ian Wike, has done enormously well. Has signed the signature in the 23 local governments of Rivers State.
All right, Mr. Orji, we're not campaigning for your governor, but we're asking, what is Governor Wike's reaction? What does the PDP and your governor, what are they going to do with all of these allegations? I heard the governor saying he was going to talk to The Hague about this issue, but going forward, how will this affect or impact on his running for a second term?
Well, I have told you here that the position of the governor and government of Rivers State is very clear on that fact. It is not correct. You watch a group of people that was also paraded on a national television, and at the end of the day, it was discovered that these are active INEC members that were on official duty. You need to call a dog a bad name for you to execute it. But we are not bothered, we are not deterred.
But amongst those people who were paraded was Mr. Riznonya, who I know is a special advisor to the governor.
Of course, if you listen to the conversation or the position of the spokesman of the military, he did not say that Riznonya was in accompanying of the electoral materials. He said he intercepted them, maybe to discuss with them. That is not to say that he was in possession of the material. But let me tell you one thing that is paramount. What we are passing through in Rivers State is PDP versus the security agencies in Rivers State. And of course, they can come up with any kind of fictitious stories. For us, we have told people, like we have also raised the alarm today, that on the 9th of March, hello?
We're listening.
We're with you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Like we have also raised the alarm that there have been concluded plans on how to scuttle elections on the 9th. And I will expect Nigerians to take it very seriously. For the GOC of 6th Division that is raising such allegations, PDP and Wike, the governor of Rivers State, we have no reason to indulge on such. We have heard a lot of things, but I can tell you Rivers State is safe and calm. Everybody is on their normal businesses. We will not have any reason to manipulate the process that already we know that will win because of the acceptability.
I want to take you up on the Rivers State is safe and calm. We just heard this morning about what happened in Abonima. We've seen videos, we've seen tweets, it's trending. In fact, it was in the news that the people in Abonima are running or scampering for safety. Is that relative, I mean, safety when you're talking about calmness and safety?
Abonima is Akuga, that's Akukotoro local government, one local government in Rivers State. And again, of course, it was a rumor that flew into the community that, look, oh, you need to scamper for your help, your life and safety. Of course, human being what we are, naturally, we want to take over. But I can tell you that the situation in Abonima is an avoidable situation. Of course, the military has been living there with Abonima people over the years. The problem started with the people that were deployed for this election. And of course, the purpose they came, we know, and we raised the alarm earlier. So for the people, and you cannot wait in your community while you hear that you'll be attacked and you sit down there. That is not to say that Rivers State is not safe. And we have been shouting that security agencies must come to the aid of everybody. You need to secure the lives and properties of our people, which is the priority of the security agencies and government.
Darlington, I have a question for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there is this conspiracy theory that Mr. Abe is in cohort with the governor, Governor Wike, to destabilize the APC in Rivers State, just as there were accusations that Modi Sheriff was installed in the PDP to do something similar. What do you make of these allegations?
That allegation is cosmetic, and it is a lie from the pit of hell. We will not have any reason to, work together with Abe for us to win election. In 2015, Abe was in APC, all of them were together, we won. In the rerun election of the 10th December 2016, Abe was in APC and they were all together, we won. But the point there is, before you will now make allegation that Wike is conspiring with Abe, can you get down to the root of the problem? Where people went to court for exclusion, you advertise for any person that is interested to vie for the position of the chairman, secretary, and other political positions in the world congresses, LGA, and state. You advertise, and members of your political party paid and tell us we are giving to them. At the point of collection of forms so that they can participate in the election, you excluded them, and they went to court. How does that relate with the government and governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Chief Barrister Wike? Was he the person that asked them not to issue the form that they already collected money, 18 million naira from?
All right, Darlington.
Participated in that process.
Okay, Darlington.
So us,
finally,
that is neither here nor there.
Finally, Darlington. Over 35 people died just during the presidential elections that happened on February 23. We hear that women from Abonima community, the same Abonima community, came out and said, well, we don't want the military to participate in elections because we do not like what we saw happen. But how can you assure the people of Rivers State and Nigerians that Rivers State will not always be a recurring name in violence when it comes to elections? Because no matter what, whether it's the PDP or the APC, we always get to hear of all kinds of things coming from Rivers State. How is the #1 chief security officer in that state going to assure that this would not reoccur come March 9?
Now you will agree with me that the governor of Rivers State is the chief security officer, like you said. We agree. Does he have command over these people? The answer is no. What does he do? What can a governor do? Provide logistics, hold your regular security meetings with all the security heads in the state to allow them anywhere you have a flashpoint and for them to carry out the execution. The governor of Rivers State cannot carry arms and ammunition or stand, to chase these criminals or the people that are perpetrating this crime against the people. The point in issue is that you are aware, or maybe you have heard, that in the presidential rally held in Port Harcourt by APC, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was seated where a man chanted war songs and told Rivers people to be ready, and Rivers on the election day is going to be bloody. And what did we get in turn? Dead bodies everywhere. We agree with you. We are constrained. I must confess to you. We are calling on the security agency, the high command of security agencies. We are calling on the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to come to the aid of Rivers people, because you sworn an oath to protect all. If that is correct, the president made a statement in the last election that no political appointee that will be left with his security details to polling units. What happened? We saw individuals with platoon of military going to polling units and collection centers. A case study is my own local government where I served as a collation agent. At the time of collation, when the military invaded and beat me up like a common criminal, it is very painful, but we are constrained, and we also shouting. As I speak to you, a meeting is on right now as I speak to you.
All right, Darlington.
Election on the 9th.
All right, Darlington, we'll have to.
So we are appealing to Nigerians and international community to come to the aid of people of Rivers State, to save Rivers State, because Rivers State is the component of the states in Nigeria. All right,
Darlington, thank you very much.
Thank you for speaking with us. We appreciate. Darlington Orji is the PDP spokesperson in Rivers State. Obi, before we wrap up, I mean, he's literally telling us what he thinks from the PDP angle is the reason for all of the imbroglio in Rivers State. What do you make of it?
Well, while he was talking, I was just smiling. And while I was smiling is, oh, crude money. All this is about who controls the soul of Rivers State, who controls the crude money. Never about the citizens. What will the citizens do? I understand why the military was involved. I'm not holding court for PDP or APC. But what happened in presidential was to limit the extent of the votes that PDP would get for.
How do you mean? I mean, why would the army get involved in politics?
No, I understand that, and and they said there was breach of peace or whatnot, and the army came in.
I'm afraid we'll have to stop for now. Thank you very much, Obi, for coming in. We appreciate you. Okay. And of course, thank you for staying with us. Nigeria Decides continues. Don't you go away.
Stay with us.